Welcome to Box to Lights. I'm Ricky Royal. Thanks for joining me. I've just finished playing through Donning the Purple, and I think this is my fourth game, and I've just lost. This one's got me a little bit stumped, which is great. That's what you need from a solo game. You need a bit of a challenge, and this really is that kind of game. It's quite puzzly. There's not really a story here. It's more of a strategy game, and quite tactical actually, because there's a lot going on. There's very few rounds in the game. There's like 4 rounds. I've just lost on round 2, so I'm going to set up again and show you how this one plays, and maybe I've learned a few lessons from those previous plays, and we might get a little bit further on. Let's see. Donning the Purple is designed by Peter Schenker-Olsen, published by Tompit Games. Plays 1 to 3 and is set back in 193 AD. The Roman Empire is struggling to keep control across Europe, North Africa here. Hordes of enemies are crossing borders and trying to take back lands once theirs. In the solo game, we are the Emperor. Our job is to hold the Roman Empire together, to ensure we have an heir to continue our rule. We need to survive these 4 years. I would say each one of these is actually more like 10-20 years, because we're not going to survive our rule. Our emperor will not survive. We will die. We will have an heir that we pass on to, and this may happen once, twice, maybe 3 times in the game. Our job is to survive these 4 rounds, these 4 eras, and have the most victory points. In the solo game, have more victory points than kind of a dummy Senate. There's no dummy player in this game. It's just a single player, but we have a Senate that's kind of ticking up victory points to kind of challenge us to keep moving forward and keep getting more victory points. We're going to earn victory points by controlling provinces in regions, by building and controlling our empire and keeping those hordes at bay. If we die without an heir, we lose the game. If the enemy hordes overrun the map, we will lose the game. If the happiness of Rome becomes too critical, we'll lose the game. There's lots of different ways that we can lose this game. I'm going to dive straight in and show you how this game plays. We've got tracks to manage, we've got populations to control, we've got buildings to deploy. Our worst enemy is, I would say, famine. That's the thing that restricts the income we can get from tax. We need income to pay for developments, pay for an heir, and also famine restricts how much corn we can get. Our ability to feed the population and keep them happy. The best way to a population's heart is through their stomachs, it seems. So happiness and corn production is a major part of this game. Alright, let's dive straight in and we'll show you how this plays. And we'll start, there's a handy reference card here, with incoming enemies. We roll a d6. There are some custom dice with the game. We're not going to use these this time, just a regular d6 for this. And this will tell us which province enemies are going to arrive at. It's province number 5, it says. We look on the map. The map's divided into 4 regions. Okay, we've got red, green, orange, blue. So basically we've got Western Europe, Central, Eastern Europe, or Western Asia if you like, and then North Africa. Each one of these is numbered, so North Africa here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 over here. The capital of each region is in a different spot. At the moment we've got 2 of our red armies, this is Roman forces, deployed in each region's capital. There's another kind of, it's not really a region, it's a little isolated area of its own, Roma. Okay, Rome is here, central, from which we begin. This is our player pawn. This here is an estate. This is a place from which we control the rest of the Roman Empire. Okay, so province number 5 in each region is going to get 2 enemies. So that's Britannia up here, and 2 in Macedonia. 2 would come to Egypt here, but they need to outnumber our forces in order to enter a province. So these 2 are not going to arrive here. and then 2 in Mesopotamia, region 3. Once our enemies have deployed to the map, the next thing is they'll move. They all move, march 1 spot closer to the capital. So we're good. Nothing in North Africa. Let's start in region 1. Province number 5, the capital's in province number 2. So they're going to go from 5 to 4. 1 province closer to the capital. And these guys, the capital is in 6. So they would come in here, but they can't because, again, just like we saw in Egypt, they need to be more forces than your defending Roman units to move in. So they're going to stay where they are. Over in region 3, the capital here in Pontus is region number 1. So these guys are going to move from 5 down to 4. That's it. 3 sets of enemies have moved. Now we move into the next phase, which is harvest grain. We look at all the farms. Each region has 1 farm. So plus Rome. So Rome here has a farm that produces 3 grain. Unfortunately, up here in Gaul, we got a farm that produces 3 grain, but these enemy forces have now made that farm unproductive. They're going to take the grain, we're not, so we can't claim those 3. There's 3 up here, that's 6. We've got 3 over here in Armenia, that's 9. And then finally 6, Egypt, down here, 6 grain. So that's 15 in total. And then we can record our grain stores down here on our player board. So 15 grain, we'll mark with these wooden grains. That's 10 plus 5. That'll do it. If we had 18, we would do that. Okay, the 1s. 10s, 5s and 1s. Okay, that would be 18. But we've got 15. 10 and 5. The next phase is to draw cards. There's lots of events that are going to happen now. 5 event cards are going to get drawn, and we're going to play these out one at a time. Lots of bad stuff is going to happen. And there is one phase I missed. I should quickly correct this. 2 red senators appear in the Senate, okay, unless the Senate's full. You need to do that before the enemies appear. So that's the first thing you do, right? Phase 1, incoming enemies prior. Just put these 2 Senates in here. Remember, in the solo game, you're slowly losing control over the Senate. Okay, so fill the Senate, incoming enemies, harvest grain, play these event cards out one by one. So the first thing that's going to happen is there's an earthquake. We roll the d4 to decide the target region for the earthquake. That's region number 1. Here we are. In the target region, remove all buildings, there are none, and add 1 famine marker. And the famine is our enemy. Remove 1 unit from each province. Players with a pawn in the target region lose 2 actions. We don't, we're over here in Rome. So remove 1 unit from each province. That's 1 legion here and 1 enemy from here. These are all units. Okay, that's the earthquake done. So the worst thing here was the famine, really. Okay. Discard pile for your events. Second event, there's 5 of these, remember. Famine. Roll a d4 and place a famine in that region. This time it's region 3. It does say if there's an aqueduct in that region, place no famine. Aqueducts are your antidote to famine. And aqueducts, we've got 3 of them that the emperor can place, and it's one of your actions. We're going to do actions next. You can come build aqueducts. They sit on the production line and then they come out on the board, and they protect regions from famine. So region 3 is now gaining a famine token. There can be multiple famine tokens in each region. These can just pile up. Famine gets worse and worse. Okay, grain import prices. Move the grain import price 1 space up. Oh, that's nasty. Very nasty. Here's our track. If we can't feed our nation, they get unhappy. And if they get unhappy, we lose the game. And putting the price of grain up is a real strain on our empire. There's nothing good in these events right now. The heir dies. If no player is the heir, we don't have an heir right now, shuffle this card back into the event deck and draw a new one. Yeah, that would be an immediate game losing situation. We don't want that to happen. Instead, we get the Praetorian Guards want more money. The Emperor loses actions equal to the current year unless we pay 9 coins. We're only in year 1, we're going to lose 1 action. Once we run out of actions, that's the end of our reign. So actions are limited, but that's okay. We can only spend 5 anyway, so I'm okay to lose 1. I'd rather have the 9 coins. They're going to keep me busy. Enemy movement. Move all enemies closer to their regional capital, so they're on the march once more. 4 down to 3 in region 1. Over here in region 2, they can't move. And then over here we've got 4 to 3. Now here's a tip. One thing you might want to do is grab an enemy token and place it on this phase track here to just show which phase you're in. So we've just finished drawing cards. The last thing you do after drawing those 5 event cards is you draw a forum card. Just once. This is going to happen every year. And this becomes another place where we can place our actions. Okay, 1 stamina per space. Because we're now going to move into the action space. So this is really good. This is a good way to get lots of coins. The downside to placing one of your actions here on the forum card is that it's out for the rest of the game. Okay. But let's go through those actions, the player actions. This is where we get to fight back. Remember, we've got different objectives. We're trying to control the board. We're trying to survive. We need that heir. The heir is going to cost 15 coins. We could spend all that, but then we haven't got any money to do anything else with. But we've also got our hidden agenda, remember. So at the end of the game it says we'll get 2 victory points if you've placed all of your monuments. So placing these buildings out gives me victory points. 1 victory point if you have the minimum 2 senators in the Senate. And then -1 if you've placed no monuments on the player mat. Okay, this is where they go down here to get little power-ups. Monuments cost 5 coins. So maybe that's something we can think about doing, building up our economy already, because they're going to give us bonuses. And we probably do want to place one of our actions over on the forum and get a nice big coin boost to get us going. I think there's nothing wrong with that straight from the off. So let's do that. Let's use the forum and gain 15 coins. Okay, so that's one of our 5 maximum actions. We can build a monument. So let's do that. Let's do this one. That's going to cost us 5 coins. Now we don't get it straight away. We have to place this on the production line in the leftmost vacant spot up here. You see that first upgrade is going to give us +1 strength for the rest of the game. Strength is used in combat. We'll talk about that in a moment actually, because that's another one of our actions. We could build an estate. This costs 3 gold. These will give us 5 coins if we've built an estate in the tax phase. And we're going to be coming to collect our taxes later on in the game. The other thing we can try and do is remove senators from the Senate. This is quite an expensive action. It's called an assassination. Okay, you place one of your stamina here, pay 5 coins, roll a d6. On a 2 to 6 we succeed, on a 1 we fail. Okay, so we're good. One of our Emperor actions here is to choose an heir. Well, we might want to do that anyway. That's going to cost 15. Place that on our player mat. Now we're safe. If our Emperor dies, we're good. So I like to do that as soon as possible. But we do need to worry about what's going on the map as well. We've only got one action left here. The other Emperor's actions is we can move legions, a maximum of 2 spaces, or we can train legions. It costs 2 coins per legion we want to train. It's a single action. We could train as many as we want, so with 10 coins I could train 5 more legions and place them out here on the map. Or, like I say, with this one, the move, again we can move as many legions as we want. You can't move and pick up legions along the way, so we couldn't move 1 and pick up those 2 and move 4, okay? But it kind of doesn't matter anyway, because you can move as many as you want, so we could move those 1 and then those 2. That's fine. You can't move into a region unless you outnumber. But if they did outnumber, all enemies in that region are removed. Okay, so it's a nice, easy way of fighting. There's no dice rolling here. You just move in, and if you outnumber, you remove. If you're equal to or less, you can't move in. So think about maybe moving your units around to protect and defeat encroaching enemies. But this is an interesting aspect of the game. You know, you could move legions to try and cut off enemies that are approaching, because again, equal numbers block. Now, I don't want to do that right now, but the other thing you could do is move your pawn 1 to 3 spaces, and the pawn has a strength of 2. You can boost this if you want. I could go this way. 1. You can move down dotted lines. I can't get round here with this one, but I could go 1, 2, 3. That's 4 to get here. So I can't quite reach these guys. But again, just like your legions, equal numbers block. So I'm only strength 2 at the moment, so I couldn't move in here. But you can always play your plot cards, and plot cards have dual purpose. You can play these any time during this actions phase. You can play it for their effect, or you can add strength. This one adds 3 strength, so that pawn becomes a strength 5. Pretty much able to take out anything. I could just move him in here and take this one out anyway. But plot cards are very, very powerful. Alright, they can really turn the tide here. As it goes though, I don't want to move stuff with my final action. This is the move pawn. Maximum 3 spaces, strength 2. The other thing here is bribe senator. Now, this will cost a little bit less now that I've assassinated one. It always costs 1 more coin than the senator on the left, so to place a senator here would cost me 2 coins and then 3 coins, and so on up the track. And the rightmost senator is going to give you a victory point at the end of the game. So being able to control Senate is very important for those victory points. Okay, but the action I want to take now is this one, build an aqueduct. So it costs 5 coins. This is an Emperor action, so in multiplayer game only Emperor can do this. And again, we'll place this up here on the production line in the rightmost spot. And now we move into the place buildings phase. We've taken our maximum 5 actions. Depending on the number of players in the game, so if you're playing multiplayer, not everything's going to come out. And indeed, the player with the rightmost senator in the Senate can swap the position of 2 of these buildings. So you have some control over production. But anyway, in the solo game, it's easy. You just work from the left and start placing these out. So the key for monuments is they fill these tracks up, and they do so from the left. So 1 spot first, 2, and then 3. So this one gives you +1 strength. So your player pawn was 2, now it's 3. The next one gives you +1 on die rolls. And the third is a +2 victory points. Alright, pretty valuable to get that third one out. Remember, our hidden agenda gives us an additional 2. Next building to come out is the aqueduct. We can choose where we want to place this aqueduct. And I might place it. It's hard to say. I mean, I want to protect Egypt, and it's 6 grain, so placing an aqueduct somewhere like here might be nice. But the benefit of placing an aqueduct at the point you place it is twofold. First, the happiness marker has moved 2 spots to the right, and this is always good because we're now in the 2 victory point territory. 3 is up here, 4, 5, we'll get up to 15. Right, so that's victory points already. But the other benefit is when you place it, you can remove up to 2 famine markers from that region. So I might actually place it over here in Lusitania and remove this famine marker from region 1. Well, that's only 3 grain over here. I placed it here because it's kind of protected behind my capital, but remember too that buildings are vulnerable to events. So I'm not really sure what events are going to hit where, but that's where we're going to go. That's our aqueduct. Buildings are susceptible to enemies as well as natural disasters. Okay, let's see out the rest of the phases and we'll see how this finishes. We'll get to the end of the year and then we'll kind of wrap the video up, and hopefully you'll have by that point a good overview of the game. Right, phase 6, distribute food. Our grain stores weren't hit hard, but we don't have much money left and the price of grain went up, so this might be difficult. Each of the 25 provinces on the map, except where there's enemies, require 1 grain from the emperor to be fed. So 25 provinces, 3 of them have got enemies in, that takes us down to 22. We've got 15 grain, which means we're 7 short. The price of grain is now 3, so we can only buy 1. It cost us 3. We only got 5 coins, so we're still 6 short. If everyone had grain, then we'd move this 1 spot to the right. Our happiness would go up 1, and we're on 3. Okay, so we've overspent. Okay, and this is the difficulty with this game. Don't overspend. Watch the grain price. Watch what you've got in the way of grain. If we're 6 short, we move the happiness track 1 space to the left for every that we're short. So we're now back down to happiness 2. So we've really got to do something. And this is how I lost my first game. First turn, bang, straight away. And then I learned a hard lesson. Okay, next is collect taxes. Every region without enemies generates 1 coin. Okay, remember there's 25 regions. 3 of them have enemies. That's 22 coin. Remember too, you get 5 gold for every estate you own, so those are really valuable. You can use your plot card, so maybe we could have saved ourselves a couple of, with what did we have? We had 2 coins, we could have got an additional 5, that takes us 7. We could have bought 2 more grain. So we could actually be on happiness 4 now if we used our plot card. Notice that there is a remove 3 grain from 3 grain from the grain storage. This is how you can sabotage the emperor and make things go bad in a multiplayer game. Oh, I forgot, we've got famine over here, so none of these provinces are actually going to generate income. So that's 5 less. And that's it. Now we move to end of year. If all the regional capitals are controlled by enemies, we lose. Or if all 28 enemies are on the map, we lose. At the start of this phase, because there's no other players trying to assassinate us, we kind of have this assassination attempt. All right, this is the first thing that happens in solo. We draw a plot card and we look at the strength. It's strength 4. That's really bad. So what happens now is we lose stamina equal to that strength. We lose 4 stamina. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can use your own plot cards. We've used it to save happiness to defend ourselves against those assassination attempts. But as it goes, they really did a number on us because we've got no unused stamina. That's death to our emperor. What happens then is you get -1 victory point. You refresh, put all your used stamina back where it was. Now remember, we got 1 on the forum. We're not going to get that back. We need to have the heir token. If we didn't, that would be game over. But we lose our heir now. The heir has become the new emperor. The other thing we do is that the AI player wins victory points equal to the number of red senators in the Senate. Okay, so this is why this is important to control. They've got 1 senator, so they get 1 victory point. And this power is going to build up, and that's what we're fighting against. We'll collect victory points now depending on where our happiness is. We've only got 1, so it's 1 victory point to us. We can remove 1 famine marker from each region, so famine goes away. It's going to be a little bit of a struggle as we move into year 2, but we'll draw a new forum card. Might be something good, it might be a good way to get some more grain. Let's have a look to see what it became. Okay, so in this case we can adjust the happiness, so we can increase it by 2. We can even reduce it by 2. Again, this is in order to sabotage the Emperor player, because the Emperor has some advantages in multiplayer, but is obviously the target of all the other players who are trying to become the Emperor in order to win those advantages. So these are kind of ways to attack the Emperor. The multiplayer game is pretty cool. I've not played, but it looks really cool. Okay, and so on goes the solo game. It's really tough. There are event cards can just quickly clear the board and mean that you just don't have the grain, you don't have the money, and you've got to find ways, you've got to eke out little margins. But it's quick, it's nice and quick, this game. It's easy to get through, the rules are pretty straightforward, and there's enough going on here. And I like the positional play of your legions and, you know, the attacking forces. As you imagine, you know, I'm a Pandemic fan, and that kind of, all this kind of stuff I really enjoy. That's it, that's Donning the Purple. A quick demonstration, I know, but I hope you like what you've seen. Go and check it out. Thanks for watching, see you next time.